Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Thursday, February 18th, 2021. It's another wonderful day, another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen. So focus on what is good. If you are out there traveling about, make sure that you are wearing your mask and using your hand sanitizer. We all have to do our part during this time in this pandemic. If you would like to give to a charity, I suggest that you give to Feed America. You can give at feedamerica.org. Once again, if you would like to give to a charity, because it's always good to be kind, you can give to Feed America at feedamerica.org. Feeding America is an organization that provides food and resources for families that are in need across the nation. And in this time that we are living in, we all should be kind. Also, make sure you say a prayer for the state of Texas. There are a lot of people in the state that are without water and electricity. So make sure that you take a minute today just to say a prayer. My guest today is author Dennis Scott. He is back again, and we are going to talk about creative abilities. We all have natural and spiritual gifts. We're going to talk about that today. And he has a book that he's working on. So we're just going to talk about creative abilities and walking in gifts. We all have spiritual gifts and natural gifts, the ability to do something according to our purpose. Most people sadly don't even know what their gifts are, but we're going to talk about this, and I hope that this topic just inform you about something you need to know. Hello, Dennis. How are you? And thank you for coming back again. We're going to talk about gifts and talents and creative abilities. So, how you been?
Oh, I've been well, Esme, and thank you for asking how things going with you.
Like I always say, I'm moving right along, moving slowly, but
I love it. Keep moving and keep moving.
Yeah, just moving right along. Yeah. But thanks again for coming back. We're going to just talk about creative abilities and gifts and talents, because we all have those, right? And
Yes.
Some people don't know what their gifts and talents are. A gift to me is different than a talent, because a gift to me is the ability that God gives you when you can touch people's heart and they'll be transformed, whether it's through singing or whatever it is that you do. That's how I define a gift. A talent is just, anything that someone has, they're talented to do. So gifts, talents, creative abilities, they're all from God. So when you think about the word creative abilities, what comes to your mind?
Creative abilities, things that comes to mind, or things that comes to thought.
Mm-hmm.
Within me that I can put it to work.
Mm-hmm. So when you think go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, so in your mind, you're just saying anything that you put to work is a creative ability to you.
To me, anything that comes to thought. In fact, is anything that comes to thought, I investigate it and sit down and settle myself and see what can I draw out from it, either on paper or either just go ahead and start doing it as I'm pitching it in my mind.
Creative abilities. Yeah, that could be so many things. So how about when you think of the word natural gift versus spiritual gifts? Can you explain that to us?
Oh, wow. Yes. Spiritual gift, first, we know the spiritual gift comes from God.
Yes.
In the natural, we can look at the natural as our, going back to that word, talent and ability.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are born naturally with their gift.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Yes.
I always thought that I was a great basketball player at 5'5" and wanted to go into the pros.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't good enough. I mean, I fantasized about being a basketball player.
Yeah.
But it was not something that I was gifted in.
Okay.
And so I know that was not the path for me to go, because I was not gifted naturally in being a basketball player.
Wow. Isn't that amazing how some people, you could just look at them and you can see their gifts because of what they do so well. But then there are other people that are gifted or talented in different ways, and they don't even know their gifts. How about that?
Yes. And, and speaking of that, I will say this, just by talking to you and what I hear, I love hearing as I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well, it's the Lord.
Full
It's the
of,
Lord.
excuse me, say that again?
I said it's the Lord that backs me up. I pray a whole lot.
Yeah,
But go
yeah,
ahead.
but you naturally speaking. Now, I know the spirit you in you,
Thank you.
but the naturally speaking on how you present and carry out your assignment and what you need to do, that's a natural gift.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it isn't. It does come natural. I should say it does really come natural to just speak to people. I used to be really afraid to grab a mic and stand on stage, but not anymore. Thank God for that. But yeah,
There's a lot of natural gifts that we all have,
mm-hmm.
but check this out: we won't know unless we pursue and doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Why do you think some people ignore or don't walk in their gifts or talents?
Those are dealing with mindsets, and it could be several reasons. The atmosphere of where he or she was raised, the environment they were raised in, their surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
or that all deals with their self-esteem, low or whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then sometimes certain gifts are passed down too from mother to father. I mean, excuse me, from mother to daughter or son, right? So yeah, that can you know.
That can happen. Yeah, and I like what you said. Passed down.
Mm-hmm.
If my father had owned a business
Yes.
and watching him run a business, I'm sharpening my way of thinking that when he stepped down, I can step in.
Yeah, that's the I think about the gift of administration. I was reading that. Yeah, the gift of administrating. Yeah, that can happen. Families have gifts. You see an entire family, a family that can sing. Look at somebody like the Jackson family, the Osmond family, or so many different families. The Winans family. The entire family is musical. That's a gift in the family, entire family, right?
Right.
That's awesome, though. We all have spiritual gifts and we all have natural gifts. And so the spiritual gifts we were talking about earlier are for operating in the church, right? So that's a whole nother area. But those gifts, those spiritual gifts, would you say a person can only learn how to operate in spiritual gifts in having a relationship with God with consistent prayer? Would you say that?
So let me say this. Just the spiritual part of it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think this is important and great subject too.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is word wise. This in case someone listening. I want to give you a scripture, 1 Peter 4:10.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 Peter 4:10, and we're talking about the spiritual gifts. Each person has received a gift from God.
Yes.
According to Scripture,
Mm-hmm.
each person has received a gift from God.
That's right. Each person. It doesn't matter.
Each person.
That's right.
We're talking about the spiritual gift have received a gift from God.
Yes. Whether you believe or don't believe, isn't that true?
Right. No one is excluded.
That's right. Every man, woman, child has a gift from God. That's wow. Just the thought of that, and that's awesome. Whether they believe or don't believe, they are God. When He predestined them to come to the earth, He gave them a gift.
The spirit of this, a spiritual gift.
He gave them a talent. He gave them a gift. That is just awesome.
Now, this is a challenge for most of us, and I know we mentioned the word church.
Yes.
And this is so important. The church is just a building,
Mm-hmm.
but the church, God's spiritual church, is the individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So someone may feel as if they are gifted and they have to use it within the church. But I want you to understand, you are the church, and your gift that God placed in you, it can be used anywhere where God directs you, or anywhere you are placed, and the gifts are used for God's glory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the manifestation of the gift is the presence of God. Would you say that, Dennis?
The presence of God in the individual is at work.
That's right. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Because
What?
because sometimes people say, "Oh, well, I don't know God and I don't know how God works." Well, look at your gifts. Look at your talents. When you look at an artist drawing something and he draws something so beautiful, think about that. That's God working through that person's hands to manifest the very thing that he is drawing. He's using his hands. He's using that person to manifest the gift that he put in him. So there you go.
Yes.
I strongly believe that.
So yeah. So in regards to in regards to any one of us wanting to know what God placed in us, see, God is the manufacturer of the gift. You say
Mm-hmm.
the creator of the gift. It's just like if I buy a BMW and there's something going on with my BMW, I can't take it to Ford because Ford did not build the BMW.
Yes,
So
indeed.
any gift that we want to know, we need to go to the person who built, who created, who manufactured the gift, and that is God Himself.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to be in a church setting. I can be like I'm home right now, and I can go to God and ask Him, God, Father, what gift have you placed in me that I'm unaware of?
I'm glad you said it like that, because sometimes people get it twisted. They understand that you can't. Or I should say, they feel like they can't operate in something that God gave them without just going to God themselves. They feel like they need to go to the church and ask somebody. I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking, someone in leadership, but there are certain things that God wants you to know for you with Him in relationship. And as you talk to Him yourself, like Dennis just said, then He will show you. He will show you.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you said a key word, and that key word is relationship.
Mm-hmm.
See, every individual has a relationship with God. We have been, and I don't want to get too much in, but we have been created in the image and after His likeness. Every one of us, every human being.
Right.
Every one of us has been created by God. And because He created me, I want to know the things that He placed in me.
Absolutely.
I mean, right? BMW knows every part and piece, every knob, every nut, every screw that they place inside of BMW.
Absolutely.
And that's God with each individual.
Yes.
We need to go directly to God and ask Him about the gift that He placed in us.
Let me ask you.
Let me just say.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about someone all their life they never knew their gifts, and then all of a sudden they turn a certain age and then a light just comes on? Let's say that person could be let's say hypothetically 70 years old, and they learn that they are totally gifted in playing the piano. They didn't even know they could play the piano, but they just woke up one day and just started playing the piano. What would you say to something like that? I mean, somebody that does something like that, would you say that person just never knew their gift? They never even tried, or they just woke up and they just did it? Or what would you say about something like that?
Now this is the realness of what you just said, because I was witness to someone in their 70s or 80s said what you just said.
Wow.
This person was overjoyed one day, and I think he's in the early 80s or middle 80s. He said, "Wow, I know my purpose," and that touched my heart. And one may say, "Wow, it took you 80 years or plus or whatever to know your purpose." However long it has taken him to know his purpose, thank God he knows his purpose. Now he can put it to good use for God's glory.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, what's his name? The gentleman that owned Kentucky Fried Chicken. He didn't start that business until he was about 72.
Yeah, and a great and we can look at it in the natural, say, "Wow, wasted all your years," but in the spiritual, man, he tuned into what God placed in him, and thank God that he knows that he can continue to fulfill the purpose and plan that God has for his life.
Absolutely.
Everything in our life, it has already been planned and purposed out by God.
Exactly. It's never too late.
So
it's never too late.
It's never too late. Whoever you are,
right.
I don't care where you at, what you have done, waste what he placed in us. And what he placed in us, he already knows you and I can do it. So whoever you are and whatever you're dealing with, you can do what's in your heart to do.
Absolutely. Because God gave gifts to every person on this earth. When you were born with a purpose. You were born to know your gift, use your gift with a purpose. Know your gift, you know your gift, know your gift, use your gift with a purpose. That's what we're born for, to use our gifts.
Right. And because we were on the subject when I started out, we were talking about finding our gift. And number one, I said discover your gift.
Mm-hmm.
And you discover your gift by going to the manufacturer who created God himself.
Yes.
And number two, when you find out about your gift, take that gift and dedicate it to God. Okay, God, this is a gift that I believe you gave me. I give it to you for your help and me doing what you have placed in my heart to do.
Absolutely.
And then as you discover your gift, as you dedicate it back to God, now you develop your gift, and you develop it by practicing, by doing it, like you just said, put it to work, put it to good use.
Absolutely. You know what, Dennis?
Go ahead.
Sometimes self-doubt gets in the way, and that comes from a way a person thinks. And so that's one thing that I know for sure people deal with that, can stop them from operating in their gift. But as you say, as you said, they can do it. They can do it.
Yeah. There's a scripture, I think it's Proverbs 23:7, and it says in a paraphrase, as a man thinketh his heart, so is he.
Mm-hmm.
See, how we think is displayed in what's in our heart.
Yes.
So if you think less of yourself, that's what you're going to get. So you have to do a mind shift, and whoever you are, find a quiet spot and talk to God. And when I mean talk to God, talk to him as if you're talking to a person. Just be real, be natural, because God already knows your heart. He already knows what's on your mind.
Yes.
And if there's anything in your life that you're dealing with that you don't like, that you dislike, you're frustrated, that's your relationship with God. Share that with him. Share that with him. It doesn't matter what it is. I find great relief when I can just share what's on my heart with God. And we have some conversation like I wouldn't have with anybody else, but I know I can trust God.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, Dennis. Was there a time in your life where you was kind of fumbling, where you didn't know what your gifts and talents were? Let's talk to the people about that, because we both been in that type of situation before where we probably was unsure, didn't know. So tell me about a time in your life where you were probably seeking and wondering, what are my gifts? What are my talents? Tell me about that time.
For years, again, as a retired military person, 24 years,
mm-hmm.
I've been stationed many places throughout the world. In many places throughout the world, I find myself enjoying conversation, talking with people, just telling them with a smile, just say how you're doing, just encouraging people about life.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't nothing spiritually. It was just I get joy. There's a certain feeling of me just constantly talking to people, and I have been doing this for over 40 years.
Wow!
Until it came out that what I have been doing, I have been walking in the gift that he placed in me, is one who come alongside people to encourage them to move on in life.
So you didn't know it was an actual gift until you...
I did not know. I did not know until one day it dawned on me, this is what he gifted me to do.
Wow. Well,
And
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. So along with that, and me finding out that there's a question that whoever you are in regards to your gift, there's a question that you can ask those who are trustworthy, those who you trust about this. And here's the question. You find 3 people, or it could be 4 close people, a person that is trusted, a person trustworthy, a person that you will
Wow, that's an awesome thing. Easy and simple to do. Just ask
Right.
the people that are close to you, what are you passionate about? Or you can also write it down. Make a list. What are you passionate about? What makes you feel good? What gives you joy? I'm going to tell you about something that happened to me. I must have been about I was probably about, I would say, 9 years old. I found this lady sitting on a porch across from my house, and she was crying. She was crying because something happened to her. She was in some kind of relationship, and something happened. Here, I'm just a 9-year-old kid, and I find this lady sitting on the porch. She's crying. So I say to her, "What's wrong?" She had a little blood on her face, so it was so obvious and clear that somebody hurt her. Long story short, when I tried to help this lady in that moment at 9 years old, I had got this feeling I could not understand. I felt like I wanted to help this lady. I wanted to help her so bad. Of course, I ran and I got the adults so they could help her, because at 9 years old I couldn't do much. But when the adults, when I ran to get the adults and they helped her, I had this joy that I couldn't understand at 9 years old. So that's when I understood I have to help people. So I just wanted to share that because
No, that's good because in spiritual terms, that you want to help people. Your ministry is a ministry of help.
Yes, there you go. I was I was told that. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? If we really look at it, each and every individual is part of ministry of help.
Yes.
It's just if you offer someone a cup of coffee or open the door, check this out. You're doing ministry of help.
Absolute service.
And service, because you're not in the church. You're outside the building called church, and you're doing ministry of help. Isn't that something?
Yes, indeed. It's a beautiful thing. Like the people that work in rehab centers and hospitals and nursing homes, I pray for them. I pray that they have the right spirit continually to serve. Isn't that beautiful? That they serve in that capacity. Isn't that something?
Yes. Yeah. And to go on what you just said, and that was so well said in what you said, there's another thing. Even when you go get your car repaired, you're getting ministry service.
To the ones that ain't trying to steal your money.
Yeah. So everyone on earth, we are part of a ministry of help service. And we can make things better if we offer our service to help people along life journey.
Absolutely. And that's what we are here for on the earth, to be a help to one another, to be extended to one another for the very purpose of, as you stated, Dennis, to help one another. That's it right there.
Yes, to help one another.
When we are kind to one another, when we love on one another, when we encourage one another, we are doing what we are purposed to be here for. And using our gifts and our talents and our creative abilities, it makes life a little bit more sweeter, because we also get to see expressions through gifts, talents, and abilities. Because when we see expressions, also, I believe in that we see God. Isn't that wonderful? We see.
Yes, I love what
and we hear God. But go ahead.
Yeah, I love what you said, expression.
Yes.
Because when you offer help to someone, you're expressing God's hand of help and express the love of God. I don't care who you are.
That's right.
You are in the position of helping someone that expresses the love of God.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Gifts, talents, creative abilities. We all have them, and we all can do something to speak life over somebody, and we all can do something to serve the next person. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Can I say something in regards to that creative ability?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, because we have precious time that none of us can afford to waste. And during this COVID, that we are heading on the other side of it, and thank God for that. We have time to put our mind in thinking about creative ways that can help and to serve other people. I was sitting home one day did is I just started being creative in what came to mind. And what came to mind is to make these homemade waffles that I, because I've never done it before.
Okay.
I made homemade waffles, and I added things that was in my mind for strawberries, bananas,
That's beautiful.
and blackberries or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now people probably have seen that on TV somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the creative thinking that I had in my mind for that day to do.
Wow.
My point is, there are creative things in our mind that we have to put our hands in doing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. When you said that, it reminded me of my dad. I grew up watching my dad and my grandfather. I grew up watching them build everything. They would build doors and walls and ceilings, and they was always extending something. It was always, I was a little girl just watching them working with wood and all types of material, and that was their gift. They were just always doing something, especially my dad. He would just knock walls down for no reason, and then just he would build it back up, and then, create a different kind of room. He was just always doing something. And, when I think about it now, my grandfather and my uncles, they have the same gift. Always building something. They can work with wood and any kind of material. They can build anything. They could just, I've never seen them actually build a house, but, they, like I said, they would build everything within a house, building walls and doors and all that stuff. But that was their gift.
Yeah. Another thing that I realized in the creative ability, and something I'm passionate about, is cooking. I love to get in the kitchen and just look at a recipe or look at something that someone made, and just start making it.
Let me ask you this: when you think about cooking, do you think about it as art on a plate, or you think about the taste of it? Because the art on the plate, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I just love the way that looks on the plate, the art of it all."
Well, it's both. Okay. That's how I have my waffles and strawberries and everything. I post on Facebook.
Okay.
It was the art of it that I wanted people to catch it.
Okay.
And I got some good, response to it.
Okay.
But I'm more on the other end, the taste part of it.
Okay.
I want when a person tastes my food, it just hands down is this that they have no words to express.
Oh, okay.
How good it tastes.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I watch the cooking channel, and I like to see how they set the plate up. I like when they they do whatever they do, and then they have to set everything up on the plate, and they have to really make it look like something. Even if it's nothing at all, they got to make it look like something. That's the part that I like about cooking.
Yeah. In regards to what you're saying, and having creative ways, creativity, and what you're doing and what I have mentioned, you have to search out some things. Again, cook shows or Amazon or whatever, something that you notice that grabs your attention. Check this out. You can add your flavor and be creative about it.
Yeah. That's something. My daughter Australia, she crochets. She started crocheting one day. All of a sudden, I guess she was probably about 12 years old. And she started crocheting, and all of a sudden she started making all kinds of stuff. And I looked at her one day and I said, "You really have the patience to do that?" And she's really into it. And just recently, she still likes to do it. And, I have a friend, she does the same thing. She makes hats, she makes blankets, she makes all kinds of stuff. You can't see me sitting down just crocheting for hours and hours. I would go crazy. That's not me. But, like you said, Dennis, you have a creative ability, and that gives you passion, then do it, because you never know.
That's right. I love what you said about that, because sitting and thinking, running through my mind, is whatever you are passionate about, that's what you are best in.
Yes.
You're at your best in the passion that's in your heart. So whoever you are, you might be passionate about being a mechanic, or you might be passionate about drawing, or you might be passionate about public speaking. Whatever you are
Yeah, it could
Your
be.
brain.
Yeah, it could be writing,
You
like
will,
yourself. You're an
that's
author.
right. That's
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Yes, yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. There's so many. There's so many different types of creative abilities, and we're like you said, we all have one, and we all were born for that purpose. Journalism was something that I tapped into when I was in the 11th grade. When I was much younger, of course, I wanted to be an anchor woman. I always thought about it because I used to watch Walter Cronkite. I just told my age, right?
Yeah,
but
you just told me.
but yeah, Walter Cronkite and Larry King, they were my, like, I used to just watch them all the time. And I had this thing for journalism because I like reading and writing stories. But of course I'm not an anchor woman. I didn't do it, but I love to talk to people, and I used to be afraid to be on the mic on stages, and then I was afraid, and then I got out of being afraid, and here I am. We all have something that we can do within ourselves, the gift, the talent that God has given us. Know your gift, use your gift for that purpose. Whatever that gift is, whatever that talent is, use it. And of course, you can learn about yourself more by praying, talking to God, and like I got to keep saying it, like Dennis said, observing the thing that you are passionate, and talking to people that know you, that can tell you what you're passionate. Because the people that are in our lives, they watch and they listen to the things that we do and say, and they know our gifts and our talents. We have, some of us have siblings, and they watch and they know what we can do, and they can tell you what your gifts, what your talent is. Many years ago, I took a class, and it was a quiz, and it basically told me what my gifts and talents were. And then there are also different websites online where you could take an assessment, and it'll tell you like a little bit about your gifts and talent. I wouldn't say it's completely accurate, but it'll tell you something. But anyway,
Right.
so Dennis,
Let me.
go ahead.
I want to say this before I forget this
Mm-hmm.
to the listeners out there. I want you to know, and this is vitally important for you to know. God gifted you uniquely for His purpose and for your role on the earth. And although your gift may not look like someone else, that's not a problem, because your gift is equally precious and needed like every other gift God gave out. Whoever you are, what God placed in you, it is needed in such a time as this.
Yes, indeed.
That's what happens.
Yes, indeed. And I thank you for saying that. Your gift is needed, and you are important. All of us are important. We all have some kind of purpose that can make this crazy world a better place. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and so before we wrap up, Dennis, you are working on a book that discusses the gifts, correct? Because we were talking about that last time you were.
I'm working on a book that deals with dream goals and desires.
Okay.
And in the book, it also, in regards to talk about the person, the gifts that God places in us as human beings and people.
Mm-hmm.
But the book, and I will release the title soon, but again, it's dealing with your dreams, what you visualize, your goals set towards the dreams,
Yes.
and your desire is to get to the destinies of that dream. And that should be released here this year sometime.
Okay, well, we're going to have you back again to talk about that, of course. And listeners, I thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. Please say a prayer for the state of Texas. I mentioned that earlier in this podcast, and I'm going to I should say, I'm encouraging you again to pray for the state of Texas. Many are without water and food and electricity. And so please say a prayer. And if you are nearby Texas, I'm not asking you to drive out on the road, but just make sure if you have an opportunity or a way to get some type of resources to people in the area, try to do it at a safe time. But make sure you say a prayer for the state of Texas. The weather is really bad in a lot of places across the U.S., and we all have to stay safe. So we need to pray for our nation as a whole continually with a new president. And we have to continue to stay encouraged. So listeners, if you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. And you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. Also have a YouTube channel. Please click like, click the bell so that you can receive a notification each time there is a new episode of SB Favorite Thinking Podcast. Dennis, I thank you for coming again to chat with me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and I will have you back again. And so, listeners, you have a safe and a good rest of the week. And as I stated, please make sure, pray for our nation and pray for the state of Texas. Thank you again for listening. You have a good day.